Hey there, welcome to our deep dive into the Keys of Enoch. For those of you joining us, get ready, because we're about to unpack a cosmology so vast,
It makes our everyday universe look like, well,
a drop in the cosmic ocean.
I was going to say a grain of sand on the cosmic beach, but yeah, that too.
Either way, we're talking big ideas. And the really wild thing is, this text, the Keys of Enoch, doesn't just talk about spirituality in some vague sense. It's got diagrams, maps. It's like,
A blueprint.
exactly, like the author, J.J. Hurtak, sat down with the architectural plans of reality itself and thought, I'm going to explain this.
And he doesn't shy away from the complex stuff either. Right out the gate, Key 101 hits us with this idea that we live in a many-in-one universe.
Okay, gotta admit, that one's got me kind of stumped. What does that even mean? Is it like those Russian nesting dolls, but with universes instead of wooden figures?
It's more about interconnected layers of existence, not so much physical containment. Imagine a network, but instead of computers, it's entire universes. And in the heart of this network,
Is that what Enoch calls the creative mind?
you got it, the source, the orchestrator, the ultimate intelligence behind it all.
So not your average God concept then.
Definitely next level.
Yeah.
And here's the kicker. It's not some distant, uninvolved deity. Enoch is saying that we, humanity, here on Earth, are a part of this grand cosmic plan.
We're not just along for the ride, we've got a role to play.
100%. It's about evolving, becoming more than we are now.
Becoming more like the image and similitude he keeps mentioning.
Bingo. That's the core message here. The goal isn't just to exist, it's to reflect the divine. Think of it like this. If the creative mind is the ultimate masterpiece.
For each work's in progress.
Exactly. And it's those lords of light that help guide us along the way.
Wait, Lords of Light? Who are these guys? Are we talking angels or something?
Enoch describes them as highly evolved beings, cosmic mentors, guiding our evolution. And get this, they're not just out there in some abstract void.
They've got an office somewhere?
Well, not exactly an office. Enoch calls them midway stations, places like Arcturus.
Hold up, Arcturus, like the star. Are you saying there's some kind of intergalactic headquarters out there?
Think of it more like an energetic hub.
Yeah.
In Key 201, Arcturus is described as a governing force for our local universe, emitting this shepherding frequency of light.
Okay, so less about spaceships and aliens, more about cosmic energy and vibrations.
Yeah.
Got it.
Exactly. And you know that mantra vibration concept we've been talking about? Well, Enoch ties that directly to Earth's evolution. He even suggests that certain languages can help us tap into those higher frequencies.
You're talking about those languages listed in Key 110, right? Like Egyptian, Hebrew, Sanskrit. It's one thing to say language is powerful, but to think it could influence our spiritual evolution, that's something else.
Right. It points to this deep connection between everything. Enoch suggests these languages, if we use them consciously, can unlock hidden potential within us, connect us to what he calls the 9 time cells of planetary evolution.
9 time cells.
E.
All right, you're going to have to break that one down for me. Is that like time travel? Accessing alternate timelines? Because my brain is about to go full sci-fi here.
It's not time travel in the traditional sense. Think of it more like layers of Earth's evolutionary journey, each with its own unique frequency, lessons, and opportunities.
So by tapping into these time cells, we can learn from the past, understand the present, and maybe even influence the future.
Exactly. We're not just evolving as individuals. We're part of something much bigger, a story that's been unfolding for millennia. And each of those layers, those time cells, is packed with insights if we know how to listen. Speaking of which, Key 109 really blew my mind. It talks about the night of eternity.
Right. I love how he describes the birth of stars, those swirling clouds of plasma. It's poetic, but then he ties it back to actual physics.
Like Boltzmann's law.
Yep.
It's incredible how he blends these ancient ideas with our modern scientific understanding. And he doesn't stop at just stars and galaxies. He goes on to connect this cosmic evolution to something he calls the night of realization, the higher fourth dimension. He's talking about realms beyond our typical 3D thinking. Imagine our universe.
Like a flat sheet of paper.
Exactly. But now imagine that sheet-curved, folded dimensions we can barely even visualize because we're stuck on the surface.
Okay, I think I get the analogy, but if we can't even see these higher dimensions, how do we know they're really there? And more importantly, what do they have to do with us?
That's the thing. Enoch doesn't just see them as theoretical. He describes them as realms of existence with their own unique laws, their own properties. He even suggests that black holes, which we often think of as these destructive forces,
Might actually be portals, connecting our universe to others.
you got it. It's a mind-blowing concept. He doesn't delve into what those other universes might be like, but he does suggest that our universe isn't a one-time creation from a big bang. Instead, it's in a steady state.
So it's always expanding, contracting, dying, being reborn. A never-ending cycle.
Exactly. And within that cycle, everything's in motion, always evolving, including us. Enoch is clear. We're not just along for the ride. We've got skin in the game. We have a role to play in our evolution, both individually and as a species.
Which brings us back to that line. The creations which survive are creations which desire that the species gather life and light into the image and similitude of the higher evolution, which is the living universe.
It's a mouthful, I know, but I feel like there's something essential there.
There really is. It gets to the core of what Enoch is saying. It's about aligning ourselves with this higher evolution. Our survival, even our purpose, depends on it.
So it's more than just, like, not going extinct. It's about our consciousness evolving, becoming more like that creative mind we talked about earlier.
Exactly. Expressing that divine spark within ourselves. And he gives us clues about how to do that, how to reach those higher states. Remember the seed crystal consciousness paradigm?
Refresh my memory. He's saying each of us carries this seed crystal inside, this spark of the divine. But just like a seed needs the right conditions to grow, our consciousness needs to be nurtured, activated.
Okay, so how do we water our seed crystals, so to speak?
Enoch suggests these light pyramids he keeps mentioning act like pathways, guiding us towards higher dimensions of consciousness. But it's not just about knowledge, it's about practice, techniques, even those languages we were discussing.
Fascinating how something as simple as language could have that kind of power. It makes you think about all the things we say, all the words we use, in a whole new light.
Absolutely. It
You-
all
you-
connects. Language, consciousness, the universe itself, it's all part of this grand tapestry.
Speaking of connections, what about this map, the Return of the Dove? It's not explained explicitly in the text, but it highlights certain areas as areas of the Nephites to be activated. What do you make of that?
It's definitely intriguing. It seems to tie into Enoch's idea that certain locations have a particular spiritual significance, like how he mentions the scriptures of light being brought to places like the Taklamakan Basin.
Right. So are these areas of the Nephites somehow connected to those hidden scriptures? Or do they have some other kind of energy?
It's open to interpretation, but it definitely suggests that the Keys of Enoch isn't just some theoretical text. It's offering us real-world clues, hints about places that might hold a deeper meaning, especially for those seeking spiritual knowledge.
Like a treasure map for the soul.
Exactly. And the real treasure isn't gold or jewels, but knowledge, wisdom, a deeper connection to the divine.
Which brings us right back to that idea of evolving into the image and similitude of the creative mind. It's about aligning ourselves with something much, much bigger than ourselves.
And realizing that we're not alone in that journey. Remember, Enoch talks about the Lords of Light, those cosmic mentors, and there's also this covenant of light that he mentions.
The Covenant of Light. That one's new. What's that all about?
It's described in Key 313, and it's fascinating. It seems to be a kind of universal law, the ground rules for how these higher levels of intelligence interact, including the throne, whatever that may be, and these centers of higher intelligence. It speaks to this incredible cosmic order.
Like a constitution for the cosmos.
Exactly. And who makes sure that covenant of light is upheld? The seraphim, those guardians of light, making sure those principles of justice and wisdom are maintained.
The seraphim, I always pictured them with those giant wings like the ultimate protectors.
It really highlights the sheer scale of what Enoch is describing. This isn't just about stars and planets, it's about different levels of consciousness, angelic beings, a whole hierarchy of intelligence beyond anything we can really grasp.
It's almost overwhelming when you think about it.
It is, but it's also awe-inspiring, don't you think? To realize we're part of something so much bigger than ourselves. We're part of this vast cosmic symphony.
It really makes you want to up your meditation game, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Just trying to tune in to even a fraction of that cosmic symphony.
I hear that. But seriously, that's what I love about the Keys of Enoch. It pushes you to think beyond the everyday, beyond what we think we know. Like, take this whole idea of the language of light.
Okay, yeah, that one's been swirling around in my head since we first mentioned it. What is that exactly? Is it like a cosmic Esperanto? Can I download an app for that?
Not exactly. You've picked up on how Enoch blends spirituality with some pretty high-level concepts, right?
Yeah, it's like he's trying to give us the cheat codes to the universe.
And the language of light is like the master code. It's the key to unlocking knowledge, communication on a whole other level.
So not a language we can speak with our mouths then. What makes it so different?
Think of it more like the language of creation itself. It bypasses our normal senses, our limitations. It works on a vibrational frequency we haven't fully grasped yet.
Okay, so it's woven into the fabric of reality. We're talking deep structure here.
Exactly. And here's where it gets really interesting. Enoch suggests that as we evolve, we can learn to tap into this frequency. Imagine the knowledge, the awareness that's possible then.
He even mentions how certain ancient languages might hold clues. I was fascinated by that part about the true Torah or being connected to our higher evolution. Any thoughts on that?
It's a tantalizing idea, isn't it? As if there's this hidden layer of meaning within ancient texts and traditions, just waiting to be deciphered. Maybe those languages, if we could really understand them, could act as bridges to this true Torah or this wellspring of wisdom.
It's almost like we knew it once, this language of light, but somewhere along the line, we forgot. And now we're trying to remember.
And maybe the Keys of Enoch is part of that remembering. It's prompting us to ask the right questions, to look at ourselves and the universe in a whole new way.
Well, I don't know about you, but my mind is definitely feeling a bit more taut, expanded after this deep dive. Any final thoughts for our listeners before we sign off?
I think the biggest takeaway is this. We are not just bystanders in this vast, incredible universe. We have an active role to play in our own evolution. We have a purpose. Remember how Enoch said, "The creations which survive are creations which desire that the species gather life and light into the image and similitude of the higher evolution, which is the living universe." That's our challenge, to gather that light, to step into alignment with that higher evolution. And maybe, just maybe, the Keys of Enoch can light the way.
It's a journey I'm definitely up for. Thanks for joining us for this incredible exploration of the Keys of Enoch, everyone. We hope you've enjoyed this deep dive as much as we have. Until next time, keep those minds open, keep exploring, and most importantly, keep asking those big questions.